Quiz 7 for Math 95 solutions. The first problem, we're asked to simplify this mess. The way you do that is you want to get the square roots out of the denominator right here. We have a trick for that. It's called rationalizing the denominator. And what you do when you have a sum of two radicals like this is you multiply this entire thing. We want to make sure we're multiplying by 1, but maybe a fancy form of 1. And specifically the form we'll want is root 2 minus root 3. Make sure you do that up top and on the bottom, so you're just multiplying by 1. And the reason you chose that one is, well, up top it doesn't work out that great. Maybe I'll just leave it like this for now. But on the bottom it'll work out really nicely. If you multiply this guy times this guy, maybe I throw some parentheses there so you can see it a little clearer. We'll have to FOIL. But we'll have a difference of squares here. The outside and the inside terms will cancel each other out. And so what you'll be left with is 2 minus 3. In other words, negative 1. Let me do that in an extra step. If you FOIL this all out, you'll get 2 minus 3. And we could still simplify this. Let's see, we'll end up with negative 1 on the bottom, which we can just bring the negative sign out in front. And then root 6 times root 2 is root 12. And root 6 times root 3 is root 18. We can even simplify that further. First of all, we can get rid of this negative sign by distributing it through to make it negative root 12 plus root 18. And both of these simplify. You can pull out a perfect square from both of them if you do your good radical and bad radical trick. This first one we can think of, actually maybe I'll take the yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so negative root 4 root 3 is the same as negative root 12, and negative root 9 root 2 is the same as root 18. But by choosing these breakups, root 4 is just the same as 2. So I got negative 2 root 3, and root 9 is the same as 3. So I got positive 3 root 2. And that's a perfectly good answer. Or a lot of times I don't like the negative out in front. I'd rather than a negative plus a positive, I think about it as 3 root 2 minus 2 root 3. But either way is totally fine. All right, number 2. Alright, solve this mess here. The trick with these is you want to get rid of this square root sign, but you don't want to just square it right off the bat because then you'll have to FOIL everything on the left here. So what you want to do is get the square root all by itself, and the way you do that is you subtract 4 from both sides. And the advantage of this form is now if we square both sides on the left, the square roots will just cancel out. And on the right, we'd have to FOIL this mess out, but we're pretty good at FOILing by this point. End up with this. And now we just have an equation we can solve. Let's see, add 2x to both sides, subtract 23 from both sides, and you get maybe 0 equals x squared, let's see, minus 6x. Positive 16 minus 23 is negative 7. We want to solve this thing for x. Hopefully this will factor. We need two numbers that multiply to negative 7, add to negative 6. If you mess with that long enough, I think you'll get negative 7 and positive 1. So as possibilities for our solution, we can get negative 1 and 7. But you have to be careful. You always want to double check these answers when you have radical equations like this. Let's see. Well, I guess we can just check them both. So maybe check. First we'll do, maybe check negative 1. 4 plus the square root of 23 minus 2 times negative 1 is the same as plus 2. And we want to know, is that equal to negative 1? Let's see, if you subtract 5 from both sides, or subtract 4 from both sides, you'd get the square root of 23 plus 2 is equal to negative 5. And I guess we can stop right there, right? The square root's never going to be negative. So we know this can't possibly be true. I think if you simplify this side, you'll get positive 5. So, I don't know, negative 1. So maybe big X there so that you know it's not right. Maybe big X here. I don't know. So negative 1, not a solution. So now, what color have I not used? Green. Maybe we'll check 7. Hopefully that's a solution. So what would we get there? 4 plus the square root of 23 minus 14 equals 7, question mark. If you plug in 7 for all the x's, subtract 4 from both sides, and you'll get 23 minus 14 is what, the square root of 9? And 7 minus 4 is 3. Looks like that is right. So we get 7 is the only solution. So maybe answer equals 7. Maybe over here we put like an X and a check so we know what the hell we're doing. And that's the end of the quiz.